Hi everyone, in this video we are going to be discussing women's suffrage. We are going to be evaluating the impact of the 19th Amendment. We are going to trace the historical development of the 19th Amendment and identify the political, social, and economic contributions of women to American society. By the time that we are finished, you will continue to work on your progressive era speed dating activity and find 3 compatible matches after you get all the information for the progressives that are listed on your handout. Okay, so let's talk about the traditional role of women in the late 19th century, early 20th century. We lived in a patriarchal society at the time where men held all of the positions of authority and women were considered inferior. Women lacked the right to vote, they could not serve on juries, and they could not hold public office. And in most cases, women were the ones who were in charge of the home and the children, and if they were married, they lost control of their property and their wages in a lot of states throughout the country. So there were a group of women who were looking to change the status quo, and one of them was Elizabeth Cady Stanton. She was an American suffragist and also an abolitionist, and she wrote an essay titled The Declaration of Sentiments, and in it she talks about how women should have the right to vote and the right to participate politically in their government. And she also wanted women to be granted the right to vote, either through an amendment or law passed by Congress. Elizabeth Cady Stanton and others organized the Seneca Falls Convention, which took place in 1848. And here it was a gathering of women who and other supporters who wanted to have a change in government so that women could participate. And this event marks the beginning of the women's equal rights movement. Another leader of this movement is Susan B. Anthony. Susan B. Anthony had been advocating for the right to vote for women for a very long time, and she even attempted to vote illegally in 1872 in New York, and she was arrested and asked to pay a fine, which she refused to pay. And she took her case all the way up to the Supreme Court, citing that she had the right to vote under the 14th Amendment, which offers equal protection to all citizens. The Supreme Court, however, ruled that women were citizens but could not vote. So the movement continued, and in 1890, Anthony and Stanton both created the National Women's Suffrage Association to get more support for their cause. And basically it merged several women's groups who wanted the same thing, and they continued to fight for their right to vote on a national scale. Okay, so after World War I, when women had taken the place of men in the workforce, in the factories, in the mills, and in the mines, because all the men were off working, it became very hard for Americans to deny that women were equal to men and should be able to participate in their government. So by 1920, there was enough support to pass an amendment, and so the 19th Amendment was passed, establishing that no state could deny a citizen the right to vote on the basis of their sex. I'm going to attach this video to our website so you can watch it. It is a very interesting take on a Lady Gaga song about the women's suffrage movement, so I'll let you watch it on your own time. Let's talk about the impact of the 19th Amendment. So this was a big step in making the United States a true democracy. However, it didn't have the effects that most people thought it would. By giving women the right to vote, we pretty much doubled the electorate. Double the amount of people could now vote. However, very few women were actually elected to office. It really failed to bring about the change, the economic equality that women thought they would get once they were able to participate in politics. And this was the last notable reform of the progressive era. So the passage of the 19th Amendment marks the end of the progressive movement. Here are a couple of charts I wanted to show you about modern participation in politics. The Congress that was sworn in 2018 consisted of only 104 women in total. 83 of them served in the House, so this small percentage here, and only 21 of the 100 senators were women in 2018. And here is another way to look at it. That means only 20% of the women serving in the House, and of the people serving in the House of Representatives are women in 2018, and in the Senate only 22% of women, which is really strange considering that women make up 50% of the population, yet they don't make up 50% of our government positions. So even though we make progress, we still are not quite there. We have seen a lot more women running for office in recent decades. This is a chart that shows you the amount of women who ran for office since 1974 all the way to 2018. So in the orange, you'll see these are all the people females who ran for office, and we saw a big spike in 2018. And the yellow represents the ones who actually won. So of the women who run for office, only about 50% are actually elected. Okay, that brings us to the end of the lecture. If you have any questions, bring them to class, and thank you for watching.